Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. Today I want to show you how you set up your ski bindings correctly. It is a fairly simple job, but still it's really important that everything is set up right, because otherwise it could be that the power transmission from the boot through the binding to the ski is not really good, or the binding is just not safe because it won't release in the right way. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All you need is a screwdriver. It's perfect if you have one like this. If the screwdriver is a little bit smaller, it could be hard to turn the screws, but just check it out and you should be fine. So on a usual alpine binding or on this frame touring binding, there are always three things you have to set up. First of all, it's the space between this plate and the upper part of the binding, which basically means just how far your ski boot is from here to here. Then of course we have the length of the whole binding, which has to be set correctly to the length of your ski boot. And then of course you have to set the DIN value of your ski binding in the front and in the back. In this video I won't talk about setting up the DIN value because it's a big part on its own. But if you want to set up the DIN value, then just click on the video right here, because there I'll show you how you do it. So if you have a Pintec binding, for example like one from Dynafit, then this video is probably not perfect for you. But if you want me to do the same video with a Pintec binding or a touring binding, then just go ahead and ask in the comments for it. So there we go. This is the Marker Tour F12 EPF. So first of all we will start with this plate here. So we'll just put the boot in. Press it down. Now what you want to do is to check how much your ski boot can move here in the front, and here it's at least 2 or 3 millimeters, which is way too much. So if there's too much space in here, of course you have to make it smaller. With this particular binding, this plate just slides up and down, so we have to slide it up a bit. But there are different bindings where this plate is fixed, but you can move this whole front part here. And there's a really simple trick to set it up correctly. Just take a piece of paper and put it on the plate here. Then you can just step in with your ski boot. And then you can just simply pull the paper out. So if you can pull it out really easy like I just did, then the space is way too big. The perfect setting would be that if you pull it out, you can barely pull it out without ripping the paper. So let me go ahead and install the paper again. So on most bindings where this plate slides up and down, you have a screw in the front where you can slide it up and down, of course. If you turn right, it slides up. If you turn left, it slides down. With the bindings where you can adjust this front piece, there should be a screw somewhere on top here. So I'll just go ahead and slide it up. This should be perfect, this setting. So I got it perfect right now. If it's too tight, which means that your paper would rip, then you just have to lower the plate a little bit and then just find this sweet spot. So, second of all, we have to adjust the length. Here you can see that this binding is set up way too long for this ski boot. So before I put the ski boot in, I'll just go ahead and make it a bit shorter. So this should be pretty much the same with every binding that you have. There should be a screw somewhere in the back where you can adjust the length of the binding. And with this marker particularly, it's this screw here. Usually if you turn clockwise, it slides forward. If you turn anti-clockwise, then it slides backwards. So I'll just go ahead and slide it forward a few clicks. It doesn't have to click like this binding. There are other bindings where it's just without clicks. So we step in the boot again, and that looks much better. But with this marker binding, there's a really neat feature, which is this screw here is not flush with the binding. And to get the right pressure, you just turn the screw until it is flush with the binding, and if that's the case, then your length is set up perfectly. But of course not every binding has this feature, so I'll show you how you can do it without it. First of all, open your binding, then put your ski boot in. Right now there should be not that much space between the binding and the ski boot, so if it's perfectly in place, these parts should be just about to touch it. So what we need is that the binding holds on to this edge here. Your ski binding is now set up correctly, but there's still something to do. You have to set up your DIN value on the binding in the front and on the back. And in the video right here I'll show you how to do that, so don't forget to watch that too. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did so, just give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, then just go ahead and ask them in the comment section down below. And of course there will be way more stuff coming up. For example, how to mount a binding on your ski at home, or how to cut skins for touring, and so on and so on. So I would be pleased if you could hit that subscribe button for me, because there's a lot of awesome stuff coming up on this channel, and I hope that we will see each other on the next video. Ciao!